When discussing the 49ers offensive backfield, it's one position and probably one position only as far as the questions, the concerns, the competition, and that's at running back. So we'll talk a little bit about the quarterbacks, but we're going to focus really primarily on the running backs. But because it is the quarterback position, that's as good a place to start as any. Brock Purdy has his contract, has the new deal, has the security of being the 49ers quarterback for the now and the future. And it's hard to even fathom that when the 49ers signed Mac Jones as a free agent, there was some conversation of, oh, what does that mean for Brock Purdy? What does it mean? It means that the 49ers were never really showed any signs of wavering about going off of him as their quarterback for now and for the future, as John Lynch described it after the fact, or actually he said it before the 49ers even signed Purdy to the $53 million a year contract, that the team decided midway through the season last year that Purdy was the guy. He's the guy they're committed to. And so for Brock Purdy, it's about taking his game to another level. Last year he brought in the running element, more scramble yards, more touchdown runs with the quarterback sneaks and everything else. This year, I think it's about cutting down on the mistakes. It's taking where his game has been since he stepped onto the field, and then just eliminating. I think 12 interceptions a year is too much for him. He should probably be in single digits. And as long as he's there, I think the 49ers offense, the 49ers passing game should be good. As far as the backup situation, yes, it is Mac Jones. 49ers liked him. Kyle Shanahan liked him going back to 2021. Strongly considered taking him with the number 3 overall pick. They ended up taking Trey Lance, of course. And then 4 years later, they get both Mac Jones. Well, they had Trey Lance. He's gone. Bring in Mac Jones. And then, of course, the quarterback they took with the final pick in 2022, Brock Purdy. So I guess these positions kind of tie together, quarterback and running back. But I'll go back to the 49ers quarterback position. Tanner Mordecai looks to be the number 3 guy if the 49ers do keep 3 quarterbacks on their 53-man roster. They probably will, but not necessarily a given. I don't know that another team would claim Tanner Mordecai off waivers, considering no team claimed him off waivers last year and he was on the practice squad. But Mordecai is a player who, bounced around in college, Oklahoma, SMU, Wisconsin. He really lit it up in those 2 years at SMU. 2 seasons, 7,100 yards passing, 72 touchdowns, 22 interceptions. His last year at Wisconsin, I think kind of a run-oriented team, only 2,000 yards passing with 9 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. But now that NFL teams can suit up a third quarterback, maybe more teams kind of leaning toward that way of keeping 3 quarterbacks. But 49ers could, if there's a roster decision to be made, whether it's keeping another offensive lineman or another defensive lineman or whatever the position is, they could opt to keep just 2 quarterbacks and then Mordecai on the practice squad, somebody that they would call up to the 53-man if there was an injury and they needed somebody. The 4th quarterback is Curtis Rourke, 7th-round draft pick from Indiana. Expect this to be a redshirt year for him. He has the right knee ACL surgery in the second week in January. Same knee he tore the ACL in November of 2022. And so 49ers will take their time with him. There is an opportunity for them to open the practice window for him middle of the season or later in the season, but I don't expect Curtis Rourke to ever step on the field for the 49ers, certainly not in training camp and definitely not during the regular season as well. So now let's talk about the running back position and in ways that Brock Purdy can improve. I think it starts with Christian McCaffrey. Um, I think Brock Purdy maybe forced things more last season than he did the previous year. And a lot of that has to do, I think, with not having Christian McCaffrey as the check down option. Um, there's a way for the quarterback to really benefit, obviously, with Christian McCaffrey on the field, in that you can check it down to McCaffrey and still have a very positive play in the passing game. So I think Brock Purdy can cut down on the mistakes by not forcing the issue and to get the ball into Christian McCaffrey's hands in the passing game. McCaffrey's such a huge threat, um, running the ball, but also being utilized in the passing game. So McCaffrey's coming back. He had a strong offseason program, looked like the burst was back. It feels like he's in very good spirits. His health wise, he's very good. As Kyle Shanahan said during the offseason program, Christian McCaffrey is as healthy as can be. And um, a big key. I mean, he is the key to the 49ers offense. But, when you talk about the 49ers running game, about their running back situation, Christian McCaffrey is the easy answer. He's the guy that everybody's going to be talking about. He's the guy that everybody's going to be gravitating toward and watching. And people in fantasy drafts are going to, some will say, you took him too soon. Others will see it as what a bargain, because he was, I think, the consensus number one overall pick last year, and probably made a lot of fantasy owners probably did not help out their teams as a number one pick, only being available for 4 games, missing half the season with the bilateral Achilles tendonitis, and then missing the last, whatever it was, 4 games of the season with the knee injury. So McCaffrey's back, should be strong. But I'm here to tell you, and again, Christian McCaffrey is the easy answer, but I could make a case, and I'll go ahead and make it now, that the key to the 49ers backfield this season is Isaac Guerendo, the second-year player who showed a lot of good things as a rookie. If Isaac Guerendo um, gains the trust of the coaching staff, if he stays healthy, which has been a big key for him throughout his college career and then last year in the pros, remember the 49ers did trade Jordan Mason in the offseason because of Isaac Guerendo, and also because of where Jordan Mason was lined up to get as far as a contract. 49ers didn't want to devote that much money to a backup running back, Jordan Mason. They have Isaac Guerendo for this year and 2 years after this. But I think Guerendo is huge in the sense that if he gains the absolute trust of the coaching staff, they'll be more apt to make it not necessarily a two-headed running back monster for the 49ers, but just somebody that they feel confident sprinkling into the action to give Christian McCaffrey 2 or 3 series off per game. And with Guerendo, with that burst he has, with his background as a wide receiver, the 49ers should be able to dial up the same kinds of plays for Guerendo that they would for McCaffrey. So from that standpoint, McCaffrey is the absolute key. There's few players in the NFL like him. I'm not going to go so far as to say he's the best running back in the game, because I think the Saquon Barkley contingent would have a very strong voice to be heard in that. But he's top 5, no doubt about it, running backs in the league when healthy. And so that is going to be a huge part of the 49ers offense. And McCaffrey's one of those guys who makes everybody around him better. He makes the quarterback better. He makes the offensive line better. He just makes everybody better around him. And he is a huge key. And then also, if Guerendo is able to do the things 49ers want him to, maybe that gives them more confidence to not overuse McCaffrey, especially early in the season, to maybe kind of space out his touches. And that would be a huge key for the 49ers, is to take away the wear and tear from McCaffrey early in the season so that they're getting their best version of McCaffrey later in the season. And that is why Isaac Guerendo plays a pivotal role for the 49ers this season. Okay, so um, McCaffrey, Guerendo on the 49ers depth chart at fullback, the one and only fullback, Kyle Juszczyk. Um, Another offseason of questions with him. The 49ers ended up releasing him and then re-signing him later. Basically, what happened there was the 49ers, uh, they were budgeting the contract of Dre Greenlaw, and they couldn't keep both Greenlaw on the contract that they were offering him or prepared to give him after Greenlaw had already committed to the Denver Broncos. But once that money opened up, that Greenlaw signed with the Broncos, 49ers were able to bring back Kyle Juszczyk, a system that suits him well. And quite frankly, last year was a good season for him. But 49ers had in their own mind decided that they couldn't devote that kind of money to the fullback position if they were able to bring back Greenlaw. So once that fell through with Greenlaw, Juszczyk is back, and and could be back for a couple of seasons just based on the way the contract was structured. So you have Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Juszczyk as the starters, no question about it. Isaac Guerendo, a very clear second running back. The other guy to keep an eye on, or one of the other guys to keep an eye on, is Jordan James. 49ers selected the Oregon running back in the fifth round with pick number 147. Had a good season last year, 1,200 yards rushing, 15 touchdowns. Also shows some pass catching ability. Here's a key though: no career fumbles, zero. No career fumbles for Jordan James. So 49ers like that. Um, Oregon, what are they, the top team in the country last year until they ran into Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. I'm not saying Oregon would have won that game or even could have kept it competitive. However, Jordan James, huge key to that Oregon Ducks offense, had to exit the Rose Bowl very early with a concussion. So could he have changed the game? I don't know. Uh, I talked to Frank Gore about Jordan James and asked him, if he sees some of himself in Jordan James. And he said there are similarities, kind of the no nonsense running style that Jordan James possesses. But Frank was also quick to point out that he believes that he was more elusive than James as a runner. So James very much, a one cut, get up the field kind of running back, which is a good fit for the 49ers system. The other returning veteran running backs for the 49ers, Patrick Taylor, who is a very good special teams player, probably his ticket to winning a roster spot, and a bigger back who filled in late in the season. And also Israel Abanaconda, a former Jets draft pick. 49ers claimed off waivers, never got on the field for the Jets last season and didn't get on the field for the 49ers either last season. So I would consider him kind of a long shot to make the team. 49ers have 7 running backs on their 90-man roster. They usually keep 5. So that would be the fullback Juszczyk and 4 halfbacks. Here's someone to keep an eye on. And I think that this guy will certainly stick on the practice squad and has a decent chance of being on the 53-man roster. And that's an undrafted rookie, Corey Kiner from Cincinnati. 49ers like him. They gave him, rewarded him a signing bonus, not a signing bonus, but guaranteed money on his rookie contract of $230,000. That kind of tells you what they think of him. He's a smaller guy, or short and compact, 5'9", 209. Led the Bearcats in rushing each of the past 2 seasons, going over the 1,000-yard mark each of those years, 16 career touchdowns. He's a really good fit. I know Frank Gore likes him a lot as well, because of the balance that he shows, and he's also very good at catching the ball out of the backfield. So keep an eye on Corey Kiner, the undrafted rookie. The 49ers have done a lot of good things finding undrafted running backs, and Corey Kiner looks like he could be the next in line for that. So he should see considerable action during the preseason. And again, has a good chance. Oh, he will stick. I'm almost positive of that. He will stick on the team. He will stick in the building, whether it's practice squad or 53-man roster remains to be seen. So again, Seven running backs, five are going to make it. McCaffrey, Juszczyk, and Guerendo and James are absolute locks. That means, in my mind, one spot between Taylor, Abanaconda, and Corey Kiner. So that's a rundown on the 49ers offensive backfield. And that is it for now.